Hi, I'm Liberty Spillers. July 14, 1952, the date I was born in Villasis, Pangasinan, Philippines. My mother Gloria A. Sakay, a plain housewife, and my father Apolonio C. Mortera, a military man from the Philippine Army. I was the eldest among 10 children, with 4 younger sisters and 5 younger brothers. My toddler days were spent in the military barracks wherever my father was assigned, together with my 2 younger sisters. That arrangement stopped when my mother became pregnant with my 4th sibling. I went to Bacag Elementaty School for my primary grades. That was from 1959 to 1965. I was a very active student during my school days, often a dancer or participant in most school programs or activities like Town Fiestas and Holidays. I went to Villasis High School for my secondary education. It was a government school and we used to wear white short-sleeved top and green pleated skirt with a necktie bearing the abbreviation of our school name, VHS. High school life was lots of fun. I liked the Junior and Senior Prom during 3rd and 4th year. Those were the times when we started having crushes or puppy loves. In high school, I was very active, just as I was in elementary school. I was often at the top of my class during quizzes and exams, except mathematical subjects. Those days in high school were happy. But there was also a sad day for me. A few days before graduation, I happened to hear the song Among My Souvenirs on the radio. I suddenly felt so emotional that tears started to roll down my cheeks. I was thinking, I will not see my classmates anymore after our graduation. I will not be hearing any more from them. In those days, there were no means of communication like we have now. That was really very hard for me to imagine. After high school graduation, I realized that I would not be going to college, though I wanted to. My father told me he couldn't afford it. But I wouldn't give up. I cried to my parents every time I told them about my desire to go to a higher level of learning. One day, without me knowing, my parents enrolled me in a 6-month vocational course in a neighboring town school. The course was called Stenography and Typewriting. Although I was not happy about this compromise, I went anyway so I wouldn't be feeling completely disappointed. I excelled very much in the subjects taught, especially stenography. Most of my classmates said the subject was very hard. But not for me. Although it was not my ambition to be a stenographer, I fell in love with the subject. In 6 months, at graduation, I was the valedictorian of my class. This was something I had never experienced when I was in the primary and secondary schools. There the teachers favored students with connections instead of capability. I felt very proud about being valedictorian, and so did my parents. After my vocational course graduation, I was recruited by my paternal uncle Ross to work in a biscuit factory in Villasis, QC. In those times, if you go to Manila, it was like you're famous because you're going to be working in the city. It was comparable to how people are now regarded when they work abroad. I worked in the London Biscuit Manufacturing Company as a manual biscuit wrapper. Sometimes I was assigned to the canning department, or worked in the office of the factory in the absence of the secretary. It was a very good experience. I enjoyed my job. I ate a lot of biscuits while working and got fat. After 5 years, my mother asked me to quit so I could help her in a small business that she had started. I agreed. Little did I know that after 2 years helping my mother in her shop, I'd met my future husband, Phil. He came pretending to be a customer who wanted to buy a single Marlboro cigarette stick. He just wanted to see me, to talk to me. He told me that after we had gotten married. Phil and I courted for a year before getting married on December 28, 1977. I was 25, he was 28. A day after our first wedding anniversary I gave birth to our firstborn, a girl we named Lorne. That was December 29, 1978, which coincided with my husband's birthday. Wow! Father and daughter having the same birthdays. Our second child, a boy, we named Richie. He was born on January 5, 1980. Then came our third, another girl, we named Sierra May. She was born on June 14, 1983. In 1984, my husband got lucky and was chosen to work in Saudi Arabia. Very good pay. He was there for 2 years, working as a carpenter. Then he came home to the Philippines, where he stayed for good. Then came my turn. In 1989 I was offered by a recruiter a job in Qatar, with the employers paying for the visa and plane ticket. I grabbed the opportunity and went to Qatar. I started working there for a very wealthy family and traveled to many countries with them. I was in Qatar for 7 years but returned to Phil every 2 years during my vacation. Then in 1996 I became a U.S. resident. It was the second time I had come to the U.S. with my wealthy employer, but this time I decided to stay. Me and another Filipino also working for the family ran away from them. Luckily, we got jobs after few days. I started to be sponsored for green cards by my employers, but something always got in the way. So I could not visit the Philippines or see my husband or children. In 2013, my divorce from my Filipino husband was approved. Not long after that, I was introduced by a friend to a guy from Georgia, named George. Courtship started and I got married to George on April 14, 2014. I got my green card because of him in 2015. Thank God. Now I'm planning to apply for my citizenship. In September 2016 George died. He smoked himself to death. A month after that, Phil, my Filipino former husband, died. He had diabetes. In October 2019, I started writing my life story. I finished the book in May 2020. My partner then and now in all things, Dennis, helped me get the book published. We created 3 different front covers but all the same story. The titles I choose are Loving Liberty, God is My Guide, and Escape to America. It was scheduled to be presented as a play at the Kennedy Center, but was cancelled because of the COVID pandemic. I have a plan to write another book. The title? Retirement, Loving It.